Hi, I am Alicia Lamb, and this is Module 1 for EDL 850. Um, so a little bit about me. I have my BA in political education, political science with a communication degree from Washburn University. Once I graduated, I decided I didn't want to work in the area I was in, so I went back to school to become a teacher and worked to get my education degree with an emphasis in 612 history. I also have a master's of education in adaptive special education from KU. So I have, while I was getting my master's, I was a paraprofessional at a PRTF here in Topeka. Absolutely love that job, but to finish my master's, I had to get a job in a different setting. So I work at Wanamaker Elementary. I've been there 9 years. I primarily teach 4th, 5th, and 6th grade special ed students. This year my caseload's a little bit heavy, and looking forward to all the changes that COVID has brought to us. I think it's going to be a small challenge, but it should be a good challenge. And short-term goal is just to apply information from this class to my daily position. I feel like I have a lot to learn about education law and how it applies to special education and how the laws have shaped education as it is today. My long-term goal is to eventually become an elementary principal, and I know this will come in handy when I pursue that. I probably won't be pursuing it for a while because I do have 3 small children. They are 3 little girls. Mackenzie is my oldest, Delaney is the middle, and Callahan is the youngest. My husband and I have been married for 8 years. We have lived in Topeka our entire adult life, but we grew up in western Kansas. He's from Garden City and I'm from Great Bend. And we also have a 10-year-old dog named Deacon. So our federal, state, and local controls of public schools. This part was kind of interesting just because we got a little bit of history behind it, and I love history. So our federal support in the financial setting, for schools to receive any sort of funding, they do have to meet requirements set forth by all branches of government. I did find out that the federal government only supplies 8% of the budget to public schools. I found that a little bit interesting because I thought it was going to be more than that. And that the education is the 3rd largest area of discretionary spending. I knew it was up there. Kind of same for the states, that it is very high because there requires so much funding, but on a national level, I didn't know that the 3rd largest. And then at the federal level, we also have the U.S. Department of Education, and their main job, I guess, is to collect data, evaluate, and suggest any changes. Hasn't always been the best for education. Hopefully we're coming back around sometime soon. And then some educational rights that were interesting. The Board of Education, as we all know, happened in Topeka, so that's fun. Desegregated public schools. There was the Bilingual Education Act, one I was unfamiliar with, for immigrant education. I feel this still has a little ways to go as far as being completely equal in a lot of public schools just because of the resources immigrant families may need, and we are not always prepared for that. Elementary and Secondary Education Act. So allocated resources to high poverty schools. This I know is still in full force, but we have recently ran into problems, and more on part of my district is families aren't filling out the forms correctly or not always marking the right boxes, and so we have recently lost part of our Title I funding. I think there are some improvements made to be in this area also. Gender equality, we know this has been around for quite some time. still, again, we have a ways to go on this because it's changing. In our schools, we have a completely different group of people, and to make them feel welcomed and equal and have equity also in our schools, that we might need to revisit this in the future, and it might be something that continues to change. And then the Rehabilitation Act, along with the All Handicapped Act, which is also known as IDEA, allows free and appropriate education for any child with a disability, and that's kind of my realm. At the state support, we have the finances. They provide the schools funding through income and sales tax. It did say that some states use lottery money. I know Missouri does that. I am not sure if Kansas uses any part of that. I was disappointed to find out that although the lottery money can be used for education, it's not a supplement. Instead, it's a replacement. I think it should be a supplement. I don't think it should be a replacement. I feel that if we're willing to invest some, then it gives more opportunities for the resources school districts need. And then we have the Kansas Department of Education, and they implement and review Common Core state standards. They review data from various districts, and that data goes from our socioeconomic statuses and our assessment scores, graduation rates. So they actually review a lot of data and then kind of rate us on a scale. And they have goals for districts to achieve. I believe we are in year 5 of the goals that they have implemented. Local support. School boards collect revenue from the property taxes and various grants. My school district has applied for several grants, and that has helped the special education department receive money for more trainings. We are dyslexic certified districts, so those grants have paid for many of our teachers to become dyslexic trained teachers in Wilson. And then we have a school board. We have 10 school board members, and they just go over the how to run our district, a review of building data. I know they go over the hiring and firing process and answer a lot of difficult questions. So who is in charge? At the federal level, we have Betsy DeVoy. She advises the president and is the president can put her name in there, and then she is elected into office, and it is a paid position. The 10th Amendment states that the powers aren't not delegated to the United States by the Constitution or reserved to the states. I found that interesting because, again, I thought the federal arena had more involvement in what education says and does, but more of the power lies within the state. At Kansas, we have the Board of Education that has elected officials, and they are paid also. And then underneath them is Randy Watson, who is the Commissioner of Education at KSDE, and he oversees the administrations. Again, it is a paid position, and he is appointed to his position. At the local level, you have your Auburn-Washburn School Board, and like I said, they're volunteers, but it has to be by a popular vote. Each member is voted in every 4 years, and it is not a paid position, and they are the ones that recruit a superintendent to come into our district, and he goes through a series of interviews and is eventually hired. He clearly a paid position, and he oversees daily operations of the district. His job is pretty big. So under our components, 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3, when I reviewed these, I thought it was very clear on which one met the local, state, and federal positions, I guess. So 6.1, it says that they evaluate, develop, and implement management, communication technology, school level governance and operations systems, that school level, and each support each student's learning needs and promote the mission and vision of the school made me feel like it was very local, because the people that need to see that vision need to be working within our district. At the state level, I did put that they evaluate, develop, and advocate for data-informed and equitable resourcing plan that supports improvement and development. That is the state's job. That is what KSDE. But I also felt like that's a little bit of local, because we look at the same data to make the school improvements on curriculum and student development to make sure our students are making success. So although I think majority of it is state, I do feel there's a small part of that fits with local also. And then the 6.3, it says reflectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, policies, and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. Federal level, because we are talking about implementing laws, rights, policies, and regulations. But again, I felt like the state plays a small part in that too, because we have laws that the state creates and policies that the state creates, but more so at the federal level, because they have laws and policies put in place that schools have to meet to receive funding. So although majority of that is federal, there is a small part that belongs to the state also. And then my resources are as follows. So I am looking forward to a great semester and one of learning a lot. I hope everyone has a good start to your school year.